I don't know what is going on with Phoenix right now, but it has turned into a full-on dumpster fire, and it is a lot going wrong there. There is a lot of blame to go around, and I'm here to start saying we are not giving enough of it to Coach Bud because the coaching job that he has done this year has been an unmitigated disaster. He's been awful, like plain and simple. He has been awful, and I want to go through some of the markers of this season and the things that he has done to kind of define where this team is or where they really aren't at this point. So if we turn back the clock to this summer, everyone and kind of on the national scale, this was still picked as a team that a lot of people thought had a chance of making a run in the West, and for good reason. They have an insane amount of individual talent on this roster, up and down, and led by the big three, and everyone says, all right, well, it's been a few years and nothing's happened with them yet. But they were never healthy. And so that was the thing. It was if we can just stay healthy this year with this group of talent, easily this team is one that has to be in contention in the West and can make a run at the playoffs and maybe even a title. That was the thinking as long as all the pieces fall into play. All right, fast forward, to midway through December, it's not happening. They're looking at a 500 hanging around there. After a bit of a good start to the year, they kind of tank a little bit. And then all of a sudden, there are a lot of rumors about what is going on in the locker room, what's the problems, how we're going to figure this all out. It's unsteady out there is the best way you can describe it. And normally in that situation, it would be a great thing to have a strong leader and a coach that has won a national or has won a championship to kind of settle everyone down. He doesn't do that. The rumors don't really kind of quiet down. It's just like the gas is added to the fire, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Then all of a sudden, we go through the whole drama that is them openly courting that they want Jimmy Butler, and then them saying, we got to figure out how to get Bradley Beal out of town because we're going to say Bradley Beal is the problem. Here's the thing. I'm not going to defend that contract. That contract is wild. $50 million for a guy right now that has a no-trade clause, one of only two players in the entire league with one, and we're trying to find in rotation. We're trying to see how he fits to this whole team. That's a lot. That's a huge pill to swallow. I also don't think it's all his fault. I also think this guy can still play, and he can still be a 20-point game and average on the right team in the right situation. I just think he's in a weird spot right now, and more importantly, I think they hired a defensive coach that doesn't know how to fit all of his pieces on offense together. And so what we have right now is him just saying, well, we've got to make some moves and we're just going to keep shaking this up with no real plan, with no real good execution of anything. And that is a huge indictment on him as a coach and as him as a leader. So we get to January, and after the gases continue to be added to the fire and the flames are getting bigger and bigger, we decide the answer is it's not going to be with what we have on the court just now. We got to shake things up because, like I said, Bradley Beal, you're the problem here. So we're going to move Bradley Beal to the bench, and he's going to be instantly the highest paid player in the league on the bench, and that's not close. And then we're also going to move Nurkic out of the starting lineup as well, and we're going to try and shuffle this whole thing up. I'm not going to defend Nurkic either. I think there's a lot of teams that would take him as their starting center right now. But we keep going back to this thing, fit. And fit is more than just the pieces. I think people get hung up on the idea of fit as a puzzle, like a flatboard puzzle. And they say this is the one piece, and if it doesn't fit, well, we just need to find a new piece and then plug it in. I don't think players work that way. I don't think basketball works that way. I don't think sports really work that way. I think they are a lot more like a Rubik's Cube than like an actual puzzle. Because sometimes you just got to rotate what you're doing with that same piece, and then it'll work a lot better. And you have to find it where it all flattens out, and then it all works out. That comes on the coach. That comes with the system that you're running. That comes with where you are putting your players and in what kind of position you are playing them. And this is, again, why I think this season has been a huge indictment on Coach Bud. And all of a sudden, he's looking a lot more like Doc Rivers than any other coach. The one that won a title because he had some superstar talent on his team when he was with Milwaukee, when he had Giannis leading the way, versus being a coach that is kind of elevating his players, putting them in the best position and kind of helping them get them over the top. He's looking more like a coach that was carried by his players at this point. Not a great thing. So you move Bradley Beal to the bench. You move Nurkic to the bench. things still really are not working out all that well. And so then you decide, okay, well, we need to make another change. We need to shuffle up this roster. And it keeps falling on the players. The blame keeps getting shifted from one player to the next to the next. And I'm kind of sick of that. This is on Coach Bud.